Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to you, whoever you are watching this, wherever you are watching this. Welcome to Mindset Meta, or should I say welcome back if you've been here before. More specifically, welcome back to the Mind Over Meta podcast. This episode of Mind Over Meta is going to be a little bit different. So if you didn't know, the back end of April 2020, me, Ryan, Joe, Angus and Quantum launched Mindset Meta. To celebrate such a momentous occasion, we decided to create a competition. Now, this competition we later named Mayhem. The purpose of Mayhem was to determine which of us was the most productive over the course of May. Spoiler alert, this inevitably led to Ryan being named Mr. Mayhem, the winner, and myself having silver hair, as I unfortunately lost. Anyway, why Mayhem? Well, obviously it lasted the entire duration of May, so fitting. Also, the intensity of the competition itself fitted in pretty well with the actual definition of mayhem. A state of violent disorder or riotous confusion, havoc. Quite fitting, really. If you want to know the ins and outs of the competition and how we gain points to determine who was the winner and who was the loser, luckily for you, there's a video over on my personal channel describing exactly that. I'll leave a link in the description or probably up here somewhere. We also documented the entire competition over on our Instagram page. We have a different highlight reel for each week of the competition. And the following podcast was recorded at the beginning of June, shortly after the competition had finished. So sit back, relax, drop a like and subscribe for more meta. Enjoy.
On your laptop.
Yeah, I think I've just done it. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Sound. Right. Well then. After what time we meant to start? 6:45. What time is it? About 8 o'clock?
It wasn't my fault.
I mean, you've got three people here who probably beg to differ.
Apple's fault. Unreliable software, hardware, even.
What hardware is your computer?
Lenovo. That's how you pronounce it.
Bag of death. So, what are we doing then? Introduction. Who's doing it?
Also, have a run through of what we're going to actually be talking about. Did you jot some points down?
I've got a fat list of points here.
Wow.
So, welcome to anybody watching. This is the first of many, hopefully, Mindset Meta podcasts. And the first one, of course, we're going to be talking about the Mindset Meta Mayhem Challenge, which took place throughout the whole of May, which was a slog. And yeah, we're just doing a podcast to talk about our own individual experiences and what we've learned, what we're taking with us going forward, all that good stuff. But yeah, just gonna have a general chit chat about it because we haven't really spoken about it since we finished it, have we?
Nice, Tom. That was a good intro. That you're a natural.
I'm well refined in my YouTubing abilities, lads.
You've been practicing that in front of the mirror.
I watch enough of it to be good at it anyway. So
yeah, there we go.
I don't know. How do you want to kick this off? What do you want to talk about? Do you want to get an individual
question? Ask a question.
In fact, I'm going to stand up, but I'm just getting something.
Pathetic.
So, what I've just grabbed was what I was using for me to count my points. I thought it could be a good idea if we've all been keeping track of how many points we actually got for each individual activity, even though I haven't added them up.
Right.
So you wanted to do that now whilst we're on the podcast?
Nah, probably not, mate. But what?
That's a silly idea.
Yeah, it is a silly idea, to be fair.
Yeah.
Either way, what did you do most of? between you? Joe first.
Work. All right.
Angus.
So
Angus, mate, you jumped the gun. Angus.
work.
Yeah.
Working, studying. Right. Second was fitness. That's what I do anyway. Third was reading. Then rock bottom. Fourth, scraping 15 minutes every single day was meditating. We ended up just going to sleep 15 minutes a day, really. But
It's really hard, I think. I still struggle. I thought I'd be really good at it by now, but I end up thinking about something else and going on some mad thought train, and then I have to bring myself back to planet Earth.
I quite like that about it, because
That's not the point, though.
I know, but I find myself going down like a rabbit hole, and then I'll be like, "Oh, what are you thinking about that for?" Stop myself, but kind of take that mental note of where I went and think like, why I went there, and yeah.
But there is no shadow of a doubt that in work, especially, thoughts have been more. I don't know how to describe it. When I've been doing something, it's been very do one thing and do the other. And if you're doing that one thing, forget about anything else for the minute, which is also for meditation, sure. So that's
so your attention span's improved.
Yeah, probably say so. Getting less distracted.
Yeah,
I want to say.
Yeah, no, I can second that. I think my attention span's definitely improved.
By you, Ryan?
Yeah, it's got to be work. Like at least 8 hours a day, weekdays, and then just like self-work, self-improvement, looking at stuff like stock shares, stuff like that. Just looking at any other way, just to get another stream of income in some ways.
Wow.
What about? Shouldn't say it, should I? No, don't matter.
Go on.
What?
Big lad.
No, it's
say it.
You're on camera, pal.
Say it, bro.
I'm not going to say it. Yeah, good stuff. So what about you, Tom? How much? What were you doing most of?
Oh, what were you not doing most of? Should we say?
It's got to be napping.
Oh, he's frozen. Oh,
he's back.
I went absolutely incredibly. It sounded like someone were playing a xylophone of Angus's voice. Right, I'm back. It's cool.
Did anybody hear that?
I didn't hear it.
It don't matter. It don't matter. We're working with what we've got, lads. It's fine. I just heard Angus's voice in like a xylophone tone going through the ears then. But what were you talking about? I've been away.
Just talking. What you found you do the most?
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was definitely. What?
You got to be napping.
I'll get onto that in due course. But no, definitely work as well. Like looking at this piece here, I was averaging probably like 7 hours a day work-wise, because, well, to be honest, the day when I did like most hours of just pure work was like a Sunday when I had nothing to do. I spent most of my day in my bedroom just doing work on my laptop. And I don't mean like paid work. I mean like similar to Ryan, like researching stuff, planning all this stuff for the road trip and all that kind of stuff going forward. Then, second of all, definitely exercise, and then reading, and then meditation as well. But meditation, some days I do quite a lot. I do like double, depending how busy I was and what I was doing. So like same again, really. Some days I'd do a solid still work, have a bit of a break, bit of a lie down, meditate for half an hour, get back to work, and then keep going. But obviously, it wasn't a great tactic in the end.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. At least you're honest, Tom. At least you're honest about what you did.
I take pride, mate. I'll be an honest loser. Like I know full well. When I was generous to myself in rounding up to the quarter of an hour, I'd be harsh on myself in rounding down to the quarter of an hour. So
Yeah.
it's not like we were fucking measuring it so tightly that it would have been.
Yeah. I'd like to discuss some grey areas of this challenge.
Oh, that'll take a while.
I would love to discuss some grey areas of this challenge.
Yeah. In how, say, I did 15 minutes of sprints and burnt, say, 400 calories.
Yeah.
And you or Angus Cole or Ryan Painter did some downhill biking and burnt 25 calories waiting for the nibble.
I'll just.
And it took you about an hour and a half. Go on.
I was just going to say that obviously you might have done some sprints, but I also did a 5K in 18 minutes 45, which was actually faster than Tom Lindley's bike ride for the majority of the time. Obviously, I was averaging 16 kilometers an hour. Tom could only average 10 on his bike.
I like to bike at a leisurely pace. Have you seen my bike?
You should have walked then.
Mate, when I was riding my bike home the other day from playing football, I was on the canal. I was on the canal and just, riding my bike, minding my own business, no one around. And I've had a little bit of a problem. My seat goes a bit wobbly every now and then, so I have to tighten it up. And I was just riding my bike, minding my own business, deep in my thoughts. All of a sudden, snap, bike, wheels off, handlebars spun around about 4 times. Thought it were going in the canal. Nearly got speared up the Japty with my seat pole, and my seat had just snapped clean off.
Oh, I want to hear the second half of the story, how you got home. No steep.
Up Sandy Lane.
I stood there, right? I'd narrowly escaped being penetrated in a place you don't want to be penetrated, depending on what your preferences are. Narrowly escaped this violence. Stood there, looked at what happened. Just laughed to myself. Picked my bike seat up. Picked like these screws and this clamp that had broken in half. Put it in my bag. Got back on my bike and just rode home with no seat.
Wow.
No.
Like a true warrior.
Like a true warrior.
Yeah.
So that explains why you went 10 kilometers an hour for the whole of the month.
No. That was just that was a bit of background on how crap my bike was and is to justify that.
We're missing out that Angus has like a 10k bike that weighs about 1 kilo.
Yeah. You
weren't going to pipe up and say that, were you?
Flying around all your power stations like Homer Simpson.
Isn't it?
30k an hour though, Tom. It's 3 times faster than you.
I know, bro. Because your bike's probably worth 30 times
3
more
times
than mine. Yeah. Yeah, Ryan? Anything to add, mate?
What? No.
What about you, Joe? Have you spoke about what you did most?
I'd probably say I did an equal amount of uni work as reading books. And then the rest of my actual work was just like what you guys were doing, just researching stuff.
Yeah.
And anything but uni work.
Yeah.
I think I've read 4 books.
That's pretty good.
In like a month. So, yeah.
Yeah. I only read 2. Well, like 2 and a bit. But the first book I finished, or the first book I was reading, it were really hard work. Well, not really hard work, but it were quite deep. 12 Rules by Jordan Peterson. 12 Rules for Life, sorry. And it was just, I wanted to take my time with it. And so it one of those things that you can't really rush through because it's so complex and there's so many different levels to every single chapter. And what books did you read?
I read that. I forgot what it's called. Energy of Emotions book. That was quite a heavy read. Not like a long one, but like what was being said was quite profound, and you had to like you said, kind of just sit and digest it. But then I read that How We Sleep book by Matthew Walker. I read another Eckhart Tolle book, but that wasn't really a hard read. There was this book about some guy that got really depressed and then brought his life back. Quite a good book, but it was more like a story than like a difficult read. And then that New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and that was a heavy read. That was like you had to read a couple of pages and think, what on earth has he just said? And then go back to it again. He's a very interesting guy.
Which would you recommend most out of them then? Because obviously, like, this is one thing that we've all been speaking about, how good this is that we've got all four of us and we're all obviously reading books now. And we're all into not the same stuff, but on a similar topic for obvious reasons. And so we're going to get the chance to swap and do like a book club type thing now. So I want to know like everyone's recommendations based on what they've already read.
We are proper lads.
I think we could combine it and call it, I don't know, you could call it something like a library. Yeah.
What do you
mean?
That joke went anyways.
Oh, like putting all our books together.
Yeah.
I get it. It's because you were so convincing. I couldn't tell if it were a joke.
Yeah.
Well then, what's Joe Elsie's novel of the month?
Probably that New Earth book. He was talking about how the whole population is like driven by ego, and they're so possessed by their own ego that they struggle to live their life properly and be in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what it talks about a lot. I don't really have the skills to articulate it properly, but he says some very profound things and like very relatable things. But I think a lot of people would read it and they'd be like, this doesn't make sense because they're that identified with their ego, where if you're quite self-aware, you probably read it and think this makes a lot of sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's difficult to describe it if you haven't read it. So, and I'm reading that Power of Now as well. But I think the Power of Now was written first.
All right.
But they talk about similar principles. So
I think that's the thing with self-development books and things like that. You've got to remember that every author is just telling from their own perspective, and you have to be open as a reader. And this is the same for any kind of self-development content that you consume. You've got to be open as a reader or a listener or a viewer to that. The fact that is just someone else's opinion. It's not gospel. Like it's not the be all and end all. And you have to use your own abilities to apply it to your own life. Otherwise, it's just pointless. And that
exactly.
I think that's because you can get trapped and like I've been there where you're trapped in literally just consuming more and more and more and more content. Because although like we speak about dopamine being like you get it from quote unquote bad things, so like like binge watching stupid videos, cat videos, I don't know, whereas arguably you could get the same effect from binge watching self-development videos. And it becomes
because it makes you feel good when you watch them, doesn't it?
Exactly. Like if you see Tony Robbins with his with his balls swinging between his knees, voice telling you that every decision, your decisions that you make in life control where you go. That makes you think, oh yeah, I'm in control. But then if you never do anything about it, then it's just, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I suppose like that one. Go on. I was gonna say like I think that's one thing when I was doing my I call it like studying, like when we were talking about work, and then when we get home, like say the work that I do on a Sunday, when I did my my studying. I tried to make it as actively, engaging as possible, not just sitting there and consuming. I would
Just
try
reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said reading and consuming knowledge. It's like you gain another perspective from like an author, and that's why I think I like podcasts, because you're gauging an insight to someone's perspective on life, and it's like they might say something in a way that you think, oh, I've never looked at it that way, and it gives you a bit more, I don't know, intellect, or it makes you a bit more mature because you think, oh, I'd have never thought about it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
But unless you kind of use it to your advantage instead of just sitting and consuming it, then it's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, mate. So how often do you think that you all spent like reading a day, for example?
I think there was one day we were like in the middle of the challenge and I was trying to smash uni work and I just couldn't do it, but I knew I needed to do something. I think I did 5 hours of reading.
As a
silly, that, isn't it?
Solid effort of reading, is that?
I know.
Was that all the same?
It was that. Not all that. I read a bit of, because I was reading 3 or 4 at the same time. I did like half an hour of each, but the majority of it was that one about that guy that was really depressed and then came back and sorted his life out or something.
Right.
No, I read like 3 hours of that because it was an easy read.
Joe, how do you read 4 different books at the same time?
I
don't know how you would.
I was going to give you a really sarcastic answer then. I don't know. I just find it. The books I was reading, I don't know. I don't know if it depends on the books I was reading. I don't know, but I feel that's a silly question. I just did.
Laughing at Ryan, mate. Did everyone see what Ryan did?
Yeah.
No.
He went like.
But he asked, how do you read 4 books at once? So I'm like, just take it.
I missed that.
The Messiah.
I get what he means, because sometimes you do. Maybe when you get used to reading 1 book at a time, you kind of think, depending if it's a storyline or like a developing plot, it can be quite hard to juggle for. So he's probably just asking, obviously, how are you juggling 4 concepts, and probably very different concepts at a time.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely with the Eckhart Tolle, it's like you read a bit and then you think that's probably enough, but I'd still want to carry on reading, so I just go and read another book, and then that's why I kind of just picked up a couple more.
I suppose
I'll go from reading the Eckhart Tolle books that were quite profound to reading that How We Sleep book, which is just quite factual and just talks about facts.
You could bring an argument there that, like, how do people watch? Because it's easy to kind of forget these days, like, even though so many people just watch like Netflix and they'll watch like a series back to back, every episode following on from each other. There are still people who watch proper TV, as in they will watch multiple series at a time. You could say that, how do people do that? Because it's like when you're reading, you do get into some sort of like flow state, especially when you pick your book up and you remember where you were, and then it puts you in that state of mind again and everything kind of starts coming back to you then.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that from like, I wasn't reading 4 books at a time. This is just like
I was going to say, I think answer to your question, Angus, because I wasn't really doing anything else, or I was doing the bare minimum of everything else. I had the time to pick all 4 books up every day, where if I was in like at uni and I had a full day, I'd obviously maybe only pick 1 book up a day. I'd only pick 1 book up a day, and then obviously I won't be reading 4 books.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What about you, Ryan? Book-wise?
What, you mean these?
Yes. I love that.
I got through 3 and then I started a last one. One like self-development, High Performance Habits, just talks about how he's basically just a self-trainer self-development trainer that teaches people obviously how to be so good at the jobs. Quite insightful, but quite vague at the same time. It's more of a maybe down the line thing, like an application thing. Like you've got to apply it to your actual daily job to see something out of it. But it definitely gives you like knowledge bites where you think if you just implement this here and there, it'll definitely help. And then what I think's my best one at month is this, that thinking fast and slow just absolutely blows your mind literally out of the water when it breaks down how you think, why you judge things differently than others, and how information being perceived in one way and in another way is the same, even though it looks completely different. And it's like he just completely rips off like stock market people and stuff like that and says half the time it's just luck when there's stuff like that happens, and he just completely breaks it down to like these two systems. But I'd definitely recommend that. That's definitely a book which is like a must read, but it's also quite a hard one, like you're saying, a lot of big words, as childish as it sounds, but stuff that you don't know and that you have to take time to find out and research.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend Thinking Fast and Slow, but I've never had a book where I've actually read and got a headache from reading it for more than an hour. It is deep. But the other thing is I have to have a phone next to me all the time because, like Ryan said, I've got to Google all the words, which is it's not embarrassing, but
I had to do that with 12 Rules for Life. Because Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist, and he has got to be, his IQ must be ridiculous. I bet you probably feel the same when you're like, obviously I haven't read them books, but
Yeah,
these people are just so intellectual. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But about you, Angus, what books are you reading?
I read reading Thinking Fast and Slow at the minute. I read Psychopath Test. Be pleased to know that I am not a psychopath.
Are any of us? I've questioned it sometimes. Has anyone else done that?
If you question it, you're not, apparently. And then Free Economics, which is a book that I would highly unrecommend.
Oh, I've seen that. I wanted to get that.
Yeah, I don't. It's a load of crap. But I didn't really. I didn't enjoy it at all. I got tired all the way through it. They didn't get to a point. It was a bit annoying.
What's it about? What's the gist?
They're just basically don't know. They ask some of questions such as, what do sumo wrestlers and real estate people have in common? You know, some weird ones. They're very bright guys, obviously. They're highly educated. And it starts off well, stuff like that, talking about how they can coincide in a way. But just drags, man. So unlike Thinking Fast and Slow, which is every page is just something different, which is good.
Wow, that sounds good. There you go, people. Number one recommendation from MindsetMETA Mayhem: read Thinking Fast and Slow.
And don't read Free Economics.
Who's it by?
Some guy.
I don't say his name. Daniel Kahneman.
I reckon you've absolutely nailed it there.
I don't know if he. Yeah.
Kahneman. If you say it in a Jamaican accent, it sounds better.
Please don't attempt it. Please don't attempt it.
He got a Nobel Prize, so that's something to put behind it.
What's next?
I have a question. I have a quick one.
Please. Just take it all.
It's kind of specific to that ginger lad, second from the left. Sorry.
Depends where you're looking at. But
yeah, I know that didn't make sense. Ryan. We haven't seen the transformation because you've been David Goggins all month, running at 5 a.m. and doing 2 workouts a day. So I want to see this mad transformation.
It's coming. I'm getting it to a point where it's baffling.
Yeah.
Love that.
I've got my end of this month anyway. So it's going to be probably end of April. I mean,
Is it going to be like
maybe not end of April, but
are you going to do it as a 3 thing or
yeah,
yeah?
Yeah, I'm just obviously what I've took most from this challenge is just like that love, not only that love, but that need for exercise and balancing that to a point where it's not like, oh, I've got to exercise. It's like
You enjoy it.
I want to exercise and I want to do it not only for the benefits but for my health and everything like that. So that's what I'm mainly thankful for this challenge, definitely.
Mate, like, it is just such a cliche thing, but exercise, it literally it improves your, well, it doesn't improve your IQ, but you know, like your IQ can deteriorate over time, obviously, given how old you are. The more you exercise, the more that your IQ is maintained. Like, that just shows, and not obviously not only your mental health is maintained, but your physical health. Again, like what Ryan said, one thing that it's taught me is like, I would get in from work and I'd be like, I can't wait to just have a smash a workout.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not just from this challenge, but I guess it was just emphasized more on this challenge because being required to do it. Obviously, I had rest days, but having that pressure on me to do it every day was, I thought I benefited so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like Angus, mate, you with your 5Ks, like that time, 18 and a half minutes, mate, that is a pretty good time.
Never experienced pain like in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you really, when you started that one though, did you say, right, this is going to be my best time?
Yeah. But a bit more relaxed about it. It was like last one. I'll give it a go, see what happens. And it was after the first K, I thought it was like a 3-minute 40 kilometer. I was like, I can't not keep it up. So I carried on going, and obviously smashed it. But it was the other day, like doing 2 things in a day was quite, like cycling and running, and then doing an ab workout.
Wow.
Was hard, and it makes me feel unwell. But interestingly, what we on? Summit of June, 5th, 3rd, 4th?
3rd.
3rd of June. The past 3 days.
Man said 5th.
The past 3 days, I've been quite engrossed in work. I've come home, sat, watching Ryan's Wi-Fi die, or watching Joe try to fix his audio, but not even thinking about sports, doing fitness or reading or meditation. Just totally work, home, eat. Man, so I don't know, that's the thing that I might fall into in the coming months. If I really keep working hard, coming home, just my mind just switches off. Don't know if that's the thing.
Yeah.
But during the month, it was wake up, whatever routine in the morning, work, home, straight away, change, run, eat, and then do the rest of it. So knowing that as soon as I came home, my day wasn't done, I was obviously going to go for a run. That obviously benefited loads.
Mate, like at the end of the day, this is something that we've said to each other all the way through this. And this is something that we've been preaching for a long time, like. And if people are watching this, like, you can't really gauge this from an Instagram post or something like that. But what we're trying to say, and go into what Angus has said there about going to work and just working hard and then getting home and switching off. Nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't need to go home and just graft constantly like we've been doing for this last month. There are people out there who don't even try at work. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are people who will go to work, do the bare minimum, and come home and switch off after doing the bare minimum. They never switch on. And what we've been trying to like encourage, obviously, is just it's that effort in it. It's that push, like trying to have that fire in your belly to just give it your all at every opportunity. And I'm sure, like, I know that I've lost this challenge, but even me coming in last place, like the actual volume of hours worked, I bet some people wouldn't work that in work, you know, like actually work that in 3 months. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is just try.
I did quite a big study during the month, which took quite a lot of time. I asked 3 people how many points they did during the week, you know, on a Sunday, whatever, and the average point was 18. So you compare, that's just a normal person. Some of them were revising for their exams, you know, for uni and stuff. So what did you get, Tom, in your NAF week? 40
in my
points.
NAF week, 43.5 was my
43
first.
points. So that's doubling a bit from the average Joe Blogs.
And that's not even us blowing smoke up our.
Well,
I mean, Joe got 71. I'm sure he wants someone to blow some smoke up there somewhere.
Give me the smoke.
Yeah,
I deserve it.
You deserve some smoke, because that's solid. That and to be fair, Ryan, I worked out your total. 277 was it for the full month?
I've got it here.
it
Nah, it wasn't that much, I don't think.
He'll have it in a picture frame above his bed.
I'm sure it was 277, and you had
279. Angus is 277.
279. I worked that out, and that is 9 hours minimum. Well, it's like 8.8, 8.9 hours minimum productivity every day.
That's crazy.
Across 31 days.
I think.
And that's.
Oh,
I would say that's without taking into account that hour that we knocked off, because we had to do 15 minutes each of each activity.
Wow.
and then I think a big point of that is it's not like you've got this 5-day week, haven't you? And then you go, can't wait for that weekend, 2 days, switch off. And it's the same instance with your sleeping pattern. Why they say you should always keep your sleeping pattern, no matter on the weekends or anything, because say you get up at 7, even 6:30, stuff like that, and then you're getting up at 9. That's like 2.5 hours extra in bed, which is just completely throwing off your whole sleep pattern and work ethic in a sense, because you're going from work ethic in a sense. Because you're going from, say, 9 to 10 hours in that weekday, and then you're going to probably, I bet you wouldn't even reach 2 or 3 on some weekends. So you've got that fluctuation, which is so high, and you're not following the flinch things. So it's stuff like what I do now is I get a cold shower every morning. Still been doing it because I think, even though it might be a placebo or anything like that, it's definitely something that wakes me up.
I can vouch for that, man. I've been doing it as well, and after a cold shower, everything else in the day just seems easier.
Exactly. It's not only so refreshing and like waking you up, like you'll hate it. Yeah, I still hate it to this day, and I've been doing it for like at least 2 weeks. But it'll wake you up, and it'll get like, as soon as I wake up, I think I'm getting a cold shower now, and I'm like, oh my god. But then it's one job that I've already done. It's the same with making your bed and stuff like that. It's doing that job, and it's just getting that ball rolling. Yeah. And it needs to be done every day. Otherwise, you'll sit back and you'll stay in bed for half an hour and flick on your phone. And then it'll be hard to get out of bed, let alone get a shower and make your breakfast and do some at work.
Sure. Like, I used to wake up some weekends. Like, I'm saying 1 o'clock, like it wasn't even that. And I'm saying weekends as in, because obviously with my job working in hospitality, some days I would finish late. So working in hospitality screws with your sleeping pattern to an extent anyway, depending on where you're working and what hours you're doing.
It's terrible.
So my theoretical weekend would be like a Tuesday, Wednesday. Some days I would wake up at like 1 in the afternoon and that wouldn't even be irregular. And I would wake up and I'd be like, I've missed the morning. And going on these morning walks and everything, like every day, something that I stopped doing towards the end of the challenge, because I was like, I need to catch up. Because I wasn't counting the morning walk as any points. So I stopped doing it so I could read for extra time. But going on these morning walks and experience, like when we went to watch the sunset, Joe, the morning is like the best part of the day.
Sunrise.
Yeah. What did I say?
Yeah.
Sunset. I always do that. Sunrise. Yeah. When we watch the sunrise, the morning is the best part of the day.
Mate, it's unreal. And the majority of people miss it. And I bet the majority of the people watching this podcast don't wake up early. I just bet they don't.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
Unless you work full time.
I've never ever woken up late in my life.
Yeah, I know you don't.
It's always like 7, 8-ish every day. I've never experienced waking up at 1 in the afternoon, unless I've been like tonsillitis or riding storm. I've gone for a massive session night before, but I've never done it, so I can't really relate to you in that way. Other than I just feel like consistent during the day and the weeks.
Yeah.
No, I'm knackered one day.
That's another thing that we've spoke about as well. They're like, obviously, dropping caffeine, like.
Oh mate,
like caffeine. Incredible. The greatest thing that's probably come out of that much, I think.
That's something I'm taking that with me. I've not touched it since.
Mate, I did.
I was going to say I did another massive experiment yesterday, and I had a cup of coffee. Right, at work at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We've got a nice coffee machine. I thought I'm going to reward myself. So I had a cup of coffee and it was all right. I didn't feel any spike of energy. I couldn't get to sleep. I was getting really frustrated. Yeah, so I got to sleep at like 12:30. That's why I'm a bit moody today.
And the thing is, though, that's almost shocking. A placebo in itself as well.
Well,
but it's not, because it's.
Yeah, because I couldn't get to sleep. I was thinking, it's that coffee I've had.
Yeah.
Shocking. And then today I've just not bothered. I've had my decaf tea as normal, and it's been absolutely fine. I think we'll see when I go to bed, but I'm presuming I'm just gonna go to sleep. But my energy levels during the days have been so consistent.
Me too.
Normally it'd be breakfast and then lunch, and then you zoom back up again till 2 o'clock, and then it's like
like before we went into lockdown, when I were at work, when I'd walk to there's like a Tesco and a Greggs up from where we were, so maybe walk to Tesco and get some lunch, and then go to Greggs and get a coffee. I'd get a latte. I'd go back to the office. I'd drink the coffee. I'd be sound for a bit, and then I would genuinely just bomb, and I would be sat at my desk almost like ready to fall asleep from the crash. And like you said, my energy levels have just been so consistent throughout the days. It's been bliss.
And genuinely, my work has improved because of it. I reckon. It's mad. It's just.
It's
just nice.
It shows that you don't need that placebo of coffee for doing work. You don't need that fashion accessory of getting a Starbucks or a Greggs or.
Oh, Ryan, I could not agree more.
Look at that. Look at me with a coffee. I'm going to do a load of work and stuff like that. It's like you've already told yourself you're going to do that work. You don't need a drink to do it.
The people who fancy themselves most in our office, the big hitters. I'm not including myself in that, unfortunately. Yeah. Maybe it's not a big hitter then. They've all got Starbucks cups with them all the time. They always walk through the office, plunk it on a desk. Oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. Pick up their coffee and walk away. I'm like,
my mate from work has 2 tea bags when he has a tea.
Mate, there's some dodgy people with tea. I used to have a guy who'd have it and just leave it in.
No.
We've got a massive criminal 1 dunker and half a gallon of milk at our work. It's shocking. It's bad. By the way, that's not very MindsetMETA, is it? So,
no, it's not. We're going sidetracked.
Anything else, Tom?
What was an average day for everyone? I can start if you want.
Go on then.
Please.
So, at the start of the challenge, I'd wake up probably just after 7. My phone, I leave it on charge down here, far away from my bed, so I'm forced to get up to turn my alarm off. I would then put my clothes on, go for a walk around block for about 20 odd minutes, depending how I'm feeling, what weather we're like, whatever. Go for a walk, get some steps in. Then I would come home, have my breakfast. After my breakfast, I would then get a shower. Then after my shower, I'd stretch. After I'd stretched, I would get ready for work, obviously go to work, come home from work, have a nap for about 4 hours. No. I thought you'd laugh then.
We know you're being serious. That's why.
So I'd come home from work, and then I don't know when I get in from work. That's when that transition from actually getting home and then like doing stuff. That was what I found most difficult. The time between say like 5 and 6. That's when I'd kind of spend a lot of time procrastinating. But it's in that time where I started towards the end of the challenge. That's when I was doing my workouts when I got home from work. Just they're like, right. I kind of noticed that I was procrastinating, so I'd get my workout in. After my workout, probably have my tea, and then after my tea, come upstairs, do some bits, do some work. I didn't mention read, did I? So I'd read whilst I was having my breakfast, and then read before I went to sleep. So yeah, that's a standard day for me.
Joseph?
Reading's good before you go to sleep because then you're not staring at your phone screen.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Mate, I've got my schedule on Excel that I stuck to for about a week and then kind of just winged it. I say that I did a week of sticking to it, and then I kind of winged it because I kind of had a rough idea in my head of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Fell to bits a bit in that 3rd week where I didn't really do much, and then I picked up again in the last week.
Yeah.
So wake up at 7, breakfast, 2 hours of uni work or / research. I had a break at 9:30, read for an hour, usually had a shower, and then did another 2 hours of uni work, lunch, meditate. I definitely should have either meditated in the morning or before I went to bed. It was a bit weird doing it midday, but I just slotted it in. So I meditate and then study again for about an hour, train midday for about an hour, have a break, study again, bit more training. So I'd do like a weight session midday, and then I'd either do like running or some abs after about 6. Have another shower, have my tea, do some MindsetMETA related shit, get ready for bed, and then read until I fell asleep.
Nice.
And I sustained that for a solid week, and then
That's just made me think though, like you saying about sustaining that for a week. I'm still. I said this the other day to you. I'm still of the mentality of points. Like when I wake up, whenever I'm doing anything, I'm thinking, how can I get the most points today? Just because that's what we've been doing.
Yeah,
and
it's a good mindset to have.
It is like I feel like that's something people could take away from this potentially.
Yeah,
the idea that every hour is a point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good concept, and if you want to win the competition, you've got to have the most points.
Yeah.
And you decide what competition you're in.
You want to win the competition of life, you've got to invest your time and hours. Oh, Tom, you got a visit? I don't think you noticed.
I've got a post-it note on my door saying, "Don't come in." What's that about?
Right, wait, I'm conscious that like I've been watching it since 10 past, and it's 50. So I don't know if it's going to end soon, but I don't know how to check.
It said on my
I'm
screen.
going for a week.
Wow. It said on my screen the host has extended this to unlimited.
Well,
that's
take a
kind of
break
weird.
if you want. 'cause
I'm
you
just
go
gonna
for a piss.
check. I'm just gonna check my phone's still recording.
I need a piss.
Where's everyone gone? Did everyone go for a week?
Yeah.
Tom's getting spanked.
I heard Tom leave his room and said he said to his sister, I think, why would you come in my room? And then his sister said, why would you come in my room at 6:30? Here it is.
Oh. Head
Yeah, my
honcho.
phone recording again.
I think mine's still
Beg
going.
your pardon?
I said I'm setting my phone recording again.
Oh, man. That's mine.
Do you want to do a quick overview
Mic
before?
check. Before.
Like, obviously, me and Angus finish off daily routines and then, like, get into more questions, or... I'm just checking, obviously, thingy-wise. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just thinking, like, obviously, keeping on, like, a schedule sort of thing.
Yeah, keeping concise.
Because we haven't been going long. It's only been, like, 40 minutes, like I said.
Yeah. Go. Just go. Go whatever.
Right, what's that?
Do you wanna say, like, back? Because surely you're going to edit that out.
Yeah.
You do it, because I'm not a YouTube man.
Oh, I'm gonna review not.
What is Angus now? But
I'm gonna see you recording now.
Yeah.
You are, yeah. That's sick.
welcome back.
So, just had a short toilet break then, because none of these lads can hold it in.
I reckon I've generally got a bladder problem.
I'd
I
argue
wee
you
more
have.
than anyone I know.
Cheers,
Got a
Jerry.
night.
However, I'm going to say, however, I do drink a lot of water.
Alcohol.
I reckon I drink more water than anyone in this call. And that's a challenge.
Impossible.
What then? Tell me.
But
Tell me.
correlation is not
I wanna
always
hear it.
causation, pal.
I reckon I have about 7 or 8 of these a day.
Oh.
What's
I
that,
have
50
3
mil?
litres, 2 of them, and 3 cups of tea a day. Well, I don't feel well for it.
3 cups of tea.
3 cups of decaf tea, yeah. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in 1 around lunchtime.
Also, I want to raise this question. Sorry, Tom. Did anyone know that decaf doesn't mean no calf? I thought it meant nil pois.
I did.
Now, you can get them off. I did some Googling. You can get obviously, it's just like a coffee tasting granule. You can get a completely decaf coffee, but obviously, decaf is not decaf. Like no calf.
But that makes me think I'd never just drink coffee if it was no caffeine, because I think I originally drank it for the caffeine.
Yeah,
But
like coffee. Think about when your coffee just smells and tastes. It's horrible. You'd be like, why?
But that's the same as beer.
Exactly.
It's not like you hit a certain age and think, oh, beer suddenly doesn't taste like piss. It always does. You just, become more inclined to drink it. But I just refuse, and I drink pink gin.
I think that's the same. I think that's the same reason with coffee, though. Like,
Yeah.
you grow up, and you're like, oh, is this what productive people drink? Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, that's
I'm
it. Like,
productive.
the fashion
There's
accessory.
a culture in it.
Yeah.
Imagine this day one MindsetMETA Mayhem. I'm thinking in Ed.
Angus.
Gonna have no hot drinks for a month here. I've got a little cheat code. I'm thinking I've got something up my sleeve that's gonna propel me through this challenge when it comes to having a hot drink when I'm doing my work. Went downstairs, kettle on. This is day one. Kettle on. Cupboard open. Green tea out. I thought
Check the
this
box.
is it. Check the box. Caffeine. No, I didn't even check the box. I googled it because it didn't say on the box. That was my level of, and I was fuming.
Yeah,
I would also.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Every time.
What are you doing?
done?
Phone just keeps dropping.
Oh dear.
Have you got a case on it?
Yes.
It's all right, mate. We'll just
We carry
work
through
around it.
routine.
Edit that bit out, shall we?
Yeah, we'll carry through the routine.
Anyway, it's quite. Sum it up. It's quite difficult to actually go through your day without not having a microgram of caffeine. So on my day,
Yeah.
I had two. I changed my days most of the times. I had 4 days planned. I had an active working day, non-active working day, active non-working day, non-active non-working day.
Love that.
So the non-active non-working day would be about 6 points. The active working day would be upwards towards 13.
Well,
I did 2 of them, and that's it. So that was quite good. But at the start of my days, I planned to do lots of stuff in the morning. Like I'm going to go for a 5K, meditate, read, which was good for the first week. And then after that, I was finding that later in the day I was knackered. I didn't have any motivation to do anything. So I changed that to just getting up in the morning, meditating, that's it, and going to work.
What's happened, Joe? Did someone start ringing you, or did it fall off?
I can only. I'm fine. Don't come in.
It's all good. Don't matter. 'Cause
No words can describe what's just happened.
the way this is going to work is going to be like cut into individuals anyway. So it's
Yeah.
It's not really mad.
What happened, bro?
Angus, you carry on talking. I'll just sort my shit out.
I just heard a rumble and a flash, and I wondered what happened.
The whiteboard that I had I had my phone propped on, fell over. I had it blue tacked to the wall. The little phone holder fell off. It knocked the lamp off, and that's ripped the light bulb out, mate. The carpet's on fire. The carpet's not on fire.
Well, it's the first podcast, and it's in
Teething issues is what?
unprecedented circumstances, so it's cool.
Must have been an earthquake.
Teething issues.
Carry on, Angus.
Standard day, Angus.
I actually remember what I was on about.
You're on about
Active. Active working, active non-working, active non-working, working.
This is going to be funny because you're going to cut that bit out, and then I'm going to be talking again, and Joe's just going to vanish.
Nice. I'll just leave it all rolling. It don't matter. It's natural.
So right,
it's a bit of a sticky one still.
yeah. So I get up and meditate and go straight to work, and then I found during the day that I did a lot more work, and also coming home, I also did lots more work as well, and I wasn't particularly tired, and so I'd obviously go to work, come home, run, have my tea, MindsetMETA stuff normally. Well, most days it was doing some bookkeeping or do some studying, and then read before going to bed. But I also did read when I woke up as well some days, because that was really good for getting me awake. Yeah. But so to sum up my little days, it's good to have different days. I thought so. I'm not feeling the same. I'm non-active day. But what was I going to say? But yeah, for me, unlike you, Tom, not doing as much in the morning was beneficial for me.
Right?
Yeah, I struggled at the start to get mine right, because I was like, I think it started with getting up, reading, then meditating, and it led to a lot of half sleep, half meditations downstairs, just trying to keep my eyes open. So I had to figure out how we're going to get.
It's so easy to doze off when you're meditating, I think.
Yeah, so I switched it up and I went for get up, shower, read, meditate, back upstairs, hour work. Then about 9 o'clock I'd have something to eat. And then I'd fill that 9 between 12 with just like straight work if I could. Probably break it up with some reading. Then after lunch, I'd usually have lunch and read at the same time. Keep that efficiency up. Give it a couple hours after lunch, get ready for exercise. After exercise, get a few hours of work in before dinner. After dinner, just a bit more working. Then a bit of exercise, yeah. Then just smash day off. Very repetitive, however, very effective. I think I'm a fan of structure and order, where I know what I'm doing, because if you just left me to do what I wanted to do, I'd definitely, it's like what you'd act like before you'd do this. So you'd do like, say you went for breakfast, you'd go for breakfast, and then say you had breakfast at 9, you probably wouldn't start doing anything until about 10, because you'd eat it for like 15 minutes and you'd just be on your phone, finding out what else to do. So whereas if I literally give myself half an hour, then I'd be able to literally just do that and get on with work after.
I'm laughing at this guy getting sellotape to stick his thing back.
No, I don't want it falling off again. Traumatizing.
Oh God!
Sorry.
Gin everywhere.
No,
Yeah,
I've sucked it all.
Yeah, Ryan, I feel you there, definitely.
Yeah, the secret to success.
What?
Who said that?
What would everyone?
To all the Mindset Metas, Tom, sorry, I'm just going to have to point this out. We're all fantastically single men at the minute, apart from one ginger man in my left-hand corner, which is Ryan Painter. So how did you fit in? Because I know you went to girlfriend around quite often. How did you fit your girlfriend in to also get in massive amount of points?
I had a theory that if I'm sleeping for 8 hours, I can probably.
That's my time with her.
I've got 16 hours there. I've got that 16 hours. I can easily have an 8-hour day, which is classed as like a lazy day, where I'm having 8 hours with her on and off. So a lot of times it was more stuff like I got her into exercising a lot more. So it's more creating opportunities for us to do stuff together, which gets me points, which is win-win.
Do you feel like you're better off? Well, I say better off. Do you feel like your relationship's improved through that?
I think quarantine has its tests, but definitely after, I think just generating obviously a more positive, balanced lifestyle where it like almost prepares you for where you have your own lifestyles together, but also sync them up to a point where you do stuff together and maintain healthy and stuff like that.
Very insightful.
Yeah. I always thought you lot were going to smash me out of the park just because you didn't have a girlfriend, or I just thought you've got 16 hours there.
So the secret to be productive is get a girlfriend.
I think, honestly, the secret to be productive is the simple cliche of everything.
Don't tell him, Ryan, we can sell this.
It's just everything in moderation. You need that rest. You need your, like, I'd probably give myself maybe half an hour to 45 minutes per meal where I did watch Netflix or go on my phone, obviously minimally, so I didn't go over the limit.
Yeah.
But somewhere where you just give yourself that rest, just switch your mind off for that time. You need that time.
So what I'm going to say to that is, what would you say to those people, those influencers who say rich people don't sleep? What would you say to that?
The biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
There is no way you can work so hard and build. If you're a business owner, let's say, which we all look up to, you can work that hard for 10 hours a day.
Non-stop.
And then, Well, no, 10 hours a day would probably be like a normal day for people. But
Yeah.
14 hours, 15 hours a day, which people go on about, and that's productive. You can do that for like 4 days, maybe. But for the
I think-
other 361 days, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it.
You've got to think, as much as that, we are kind of all in a rat race in terms of we're not working for ourselves, we're working for somebody else. So I feel like you probably could have a lot more drive, maybe an extra couple hours, maybe a 10-hour day constantly, if it is your business. But I think
Yeah, that's a good point.
there is a burnout, and I think you've got to balance that so well.
Yeah. So that kind of leads nicely. Nice little segue this, you know. The next question I was going to ask was to do with like, what did you find hardest throughout this whole thing? Because obviously we all had the stipulations, like the no masturbation, no alcohol, no drugs. What am I forgetting here?
Screen time,
Screen time,
time,
limit,
caffeine.
no caffeine. What did you find most difficult? Not just like each specific rule. What was the hardest thing? All at once.
Hardest thing. My
Yeah,
thing is because I couldn't wank for a month.
Someone started that answer, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you
To be
reckon?
fair,
That's why Joe's eyes lit up
right.
when you told that.
No, that was definitely the most difficult. Like having the discipline not to have a tickle. But then once you got through it, that mental battle, more of a mental battle, and then and then I felt fine for the rest of the day. And there's definitely a correlation between like energy levels, motivation, attention span, blah blah blah, with not fapping.
It's almost like that cold shower principle, isn't it?
What?
I relate that to the cold shower thing, because when you overcome, look, right, there are a majority of males out there.
I thought you were going to say something else because you looked over to your bed and I thought you were going to tell us a story. So
let me tell you a little something. There's a majority of males out there who will wake up in the morning and they will be greeted by, you know what, right? And it can be easy, especially given the circumstances at the minute, to stay in bed and sort it out. I found overcoming that was like the cold shower thing.
I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about the more scientific side of it, where it's actually proven to help your motivation and stuff like that.
Now I feel daft.
No, I get what you mean. It's like a discipline thing.
Yeah.
Like having the discipline to get the cold showers, like having the discipline not to have a tickle. I do get it.
Yeah,
but that was probably the hardest thing. I didn't miss caffeine. After a week, I was fine. I say after a week, I didn't really have any withdrawal symptoms. I don't know if you did. I didn't get any headaches or anything.
See, I credit my first week of being crap to, well, I'm not blaming it on the caffeine, because I am in control of my body more than a substance is in control of my body. But I reckon it probably had an effect on my energy levels in that first week.
Yeah. Like they compare it to like drug withdrawals, don't they? Because it's obviously a chemical imbalance in your brain. It's literally going from such a peak to such a drop where your mind will be all over the place. So there is some credit to that.
How much coffee did everyone drink? Because I was averaging like nearly 3 cups a day whilst I was doing my uni work. And then I went from that to nothing. I didn't experience any withdrawals at all.
Like proper, just like a teaspoon of coffee in each cup.
Oh, probably a couple of teaspoons.
Wow, really?
Maybe 3.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Jesus Christ.
And you called me out. And there's you there.
Having 3 teas.
I was talking smack, obviously. But yeah.
I'd have two teaspoons, probably 2. 1 coffee when I get to work and then 1 midday.
Are we talking like lockdown caffeine levels?
Any.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, going off lockdown caffeine levels, because I've been trying to cut down for a long time, but for lockdown, I was like waking up, having a coffee with my breakfast. Not a coffee. I would have a tea with my breakfast after I'd been on a walk, and then I would probably have another tea at some point around lunchtime. Then maybe a green tea, and then maybe I would have a heaped teaspoon of coffee in my protein shake, and that was about it really for me. But like obviously, it's all relative, isn't it? Because although that's not a massive amount of caffeine in respect to some people, it was still all the caffeine that my body was taking. So when that was cut cold turkey, I definitely felt the effects. I felt like crap in that first week, you know.
Yeah,
I really did, and I can't really put it down to anything other than knowing that I felt bad, knowing that I was being lazy, and feeling like I was falling behind right at the beginning, and it was just like, oh no, and I just crumbled and just didn't really do much.
Yeah,
I wasn't going into the office at that point.
Are you not going back to caffeine at all?
This is kind of, I'm saying this now, it might change, but I don't miss it. I don't crave it. I've said to myself, I'll have a cup of tea on a Sunday. Just like have a Sunday. Sundays being like obviously Sunday's not a rest day.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Maybe have a cup of tea and a treat on.
I think for me, I've already 1 month of not having any coffee, which is fine. Didn't affect me whatsoever. Then, as I said yesterday, having a cup of coffee, and then crashing after I had it a couple hours later, and then couldn't sleep before I went to bed. There's no way we'll go back. What I've said is, that's during the week. On a Saturday, if I go to Starbucks with my dad or something, or sister, or whatever, I'll probably have a coffee then because it's just a treat, something nice to do. So I'd have it as a bit of a social thing, not go on 3 cups of coffee every day, because otherwise I'll fail at work. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think being obviously quarantine wise, I'd probably max out at 2. I'd probably have one with breakfast and maybe in a protein shake like you did, Tom. But office based, it's definitely something that's just, I don't know, like it's just people around you, like oh, you're making a coffee or something. It's just like, I
can vouch for that as well.
All right, I'll have one as well and whatever. Yeah. I just think like I'd probably have maybe 3 or 4. I'm not that sort of guy anyway. I don't really like it that much anyway. So I think keep it that way.
Yeah.
The way I see it, I couldn't just have black coffee. It tastes horrible.
No, definitely.
When I have a coffee, it'd be quite a bit of milk and about 3 sugars. Otherwise, I won't be able to drink it.
Well, saying
that just shows you, though, doesn't it? Like it is the addiction almost that is making you drink it.
I mean, I 100% say I was drinking it for the caffeine and for no other reason, because coffee just tastes like piss. It just does.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But I'm going to say something else then.
Yeah. Saying that with the taste thing, I switched on to flat whites like probably Christmas time, and I've had them probably daily after, just calorie wise. And it's that like thinking back to it, it's that thing. It's like, oh, I need a coffee to work, but I don't really want all them calories, because like you get like some mad caramel latte and you're talking like 300 calories in a drink.
So, yeah.
And like thinking back to it, it's like, yeah, it's an accessory. And then I even took it to an extent where I knew it was still sort of impacting my health on the calorie basis. So I had to change it about just so I could have a coffee.
Yeah, wow. It's crazy, isn't it? Like how it has a grip of you. Like you feel like especially like I developed I'll call it caffeine addiction. Obviously working in a coffee shop and just having it on tap. I didn't even like coffee when I started working there. And it got to the point where I was having like probably 4 proper coffees every day, not including having a tea with my breakfast, not including maybe having a tea as well as 4 coffees at work. Like it really does just like grab you, and it goes from 0 to 100.
Yeah,
you can't fathom it, really.
Definitely. It's not even just coffees either. I didn't even know it was in chocolate.
I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. And then
That's
it's
the
like
point I
any
was
other.
going to make as well. Just
Yeah.
that in the first week, I think I ate more chocolate than I've ever done. I think, looking back, my body was probably... I was saying, no, I'm all right. But in truth, I was probably getting a bit of a caffeine high from it.
How much chocolate did you have, Angus?
We'll have to calculate this.
I mean,
At least.
this is a confession.
Right, yeah. Well,
I'm
I'm not going to get any worse than Tom, am I?
No. Unless you've had 15 Cadbury bars.
Oh, no, nothing to that extent. Probably just
shut your mouth.
a couple of Kit Kats.
So, what got you through the tough times then?
Was that a broad question?
That's a broad question. Like, I know you said, Joe, like, towards the end, after you did that 70-hour week, obviously, this is kind of a multi-layered question. But
yeah,
you said that after that 70-hour week, you experienced like burnout and you were feeling knackered
to some silly extent.
Yeah. So, did you have anything like that prior to that? Some form of burnout, and how did you get over it, or how did you get over the? We kind of spoke about how we got over the addiction. So, like, did you have any points in the process where you thought?
Do you know what it was? I think I experienced the burnout straight after submitting my last exam, and you've got to think that you guys are working to your own schedules and working to work, but you don't really have deadlines as such.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at me, that was the end of my academic year, and subconsciously everything's been boiling down to that moment. And as soon as I submitted that exam, it was all done, and I didn't really feel any different at the time, but surely that's got to have some like mental impact on your like work rate or whatever. And it was like it was before I knew I had to work, and after that it was I'm just doing it to get paid for this challenge. Do you know what I mean?
I'd say I'd agree with that, because like first 2 weeks I were fully furloughed, like no work at all. So it was to the point where work was almost a task in itself to get something done.
Yeah.
To the point where I had to like buy ebooks and just evaluate them and just start writing down about what I've learned in these ebooks and researching stuff to do with this. And I think that goal setting is a big key to not only burnout in the sense of like Joe achieving that end, which is pretty much his end goal a year in this academic year. He hits that and it's like, now what? And it's like structuring your goals to be more of a like hit this, and just keep that ladder going of goals and success. Which is sometimes, obviously, you can't obviously do that with everything, but it's like realizing a big goal can be detrimental. It's like Tyson Fury. That's what's just come to my mind. Tyson Fury beats Vladimir Klitschko and he gets depressed and he becomes an alcoholic, a drug addict and everything like this. Yeah. It's a similar sort of thing. It's this big goal that you obviously put all this pressure on, focus on, and then you hit that peak and it's like, you can't go anywhere else.
What now?
I get that, because it's like in my head I was like, as soon as I finish these exams I'll be so much happier, like I'll have so much more time to do, and it doesn't really make much difference. It's like I submitted them, I'm not on average much happier because I was fine doing the work realistically, because you feel good once you've done it, and I'm not getting that. I've done some work and now I feel good. I'm just like consistently like, I'm sound.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that Ryan to respond was like rest time. I didn't factor in rest when I did my schedule. I was just like, I'll do this every day for a month, I'll be fine. And it just, I don't know, I faced the consequences. I think if I was to go back and do it again, I'd definitely have maybe not a full day off, or a couple of days in the week where I do half days and then like have the afternoon off.
I
then do
think
2 full
Angus's
days.
technique is very good for that. Like, I like the idea of having different structured days. Keep it fresh. I mean, lads, we've been going for quite a while now, and I think we've covered pretty much every topic here, but I think it's now probably time to start bringing this podcast to a close and answering some questions from the lovely Mindset Meta community.
Was there any?
I've got a few.
Yeah, it'll be us three again asking our own questions.
Praise the Lord.
I might have asked one.
I wonder.
I wonder what this is going to be about.
Question number one. Who wanked the most?
That guy.
Well, I'll start. I
Me there.
0.
Oh,
Joe.
sorry. Don't know who's where. I know who's
I had-
answers.
2. 1.
21.
You sure?
Make your mind up.
Right, I had 2. Ryan?
Oof.
I'm going to say 1.
Hang
I'll
on.
say.
Can't say 2 and then go back to 1.
I think it's 4. I'm going to say 1.
Is it because you had a wet dream?
Oh, no, I had 3.
Lucky
Yeah.
boy. We
It's
won't
not
talk-
lucky at all. It's horrible.
We won't talk about that. Ryan,
Yeah. It's PG.
Just one.
I had 1. So Joe,
Top
So I
four
got
with five.
the most amount of deduction points without having
from the
one.
least.
So I got 9 points of deductions from Instagram.
In fact, Brett, you got 9. All 9 were from Instagram. All 9.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Ryan? What were yours for?
Well, not all from Instagram, but from social media anyway.
I've got. Oh god, mine was stuff like stuff like that. Yeah, like TikTok and Instagram. It's just you know what pissed me off the most about it is when you go 16 minutes and it'd be like, whoa, just
I
why
set
that?
up time limits.
Yeah, but I'm an idiot. And I just keep pressing 15 minutes and
1 more minute.
yeah.
Just 1 more minute.
And
So I had some drugs on the very first night because there was some left, and I thought, why not? Which is poor from me, but
You had a shocking start, didn't you?
my
I
mind,
bet you were negative at one
Lads.
point.
my mind at that moment would have told me anything. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I would have done. I was just like, I just convinced myself, and it was so easy. So they were the first 2. I then lost a point for Instagram and a point for Snapchat. I then lost 2 for and then on the very last night, I lost 2 for having a beer, which
Really?
is poor. But I've
That's
explained this.
shite.
So I went to it was like a family barbecue, and it was when I went to pick them beers up, Ryan.
Yeah.
I went to my brother's after and did that.
I was gonna say it's
Where did you get them bits from?
Tesco in Oxford.
yeah. I was gonna say it's good that
Yeah.
none of us really did drink. Like, obviously you had one, but like, I think it kind of shows, doesn't it? Like, you don't really need one.
We all had a massive wine tasting on Zoom with multiple different families. I was just there, like a wet fart, just not smiling, just in the corner.
We've had a few socially
Shocking.
distant barbecues that I've had to turn down beer to. And then that's it. Like that, it's just the social aspect, isn't it? It's like you do feel a little bit left out.
Definitely.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Ryan, what were your deductions for them? Have you said
I
yours?
said, yeah, mainly just TikTok and bloody Instagram and shit like that. Just little sly ones where it makes me want to cry.
I have a question. How did everyone find not using social media as much?
Lovely.
Honestly,
Refreshing.
it was very refreshing, and I am keeping my 15-minute limits.
Time was on. Yeah.
I may end up obviously, like, I'm not under any stipulation, so I may go over them, but I'm not. As long as I'm like, it's just knowing that I've been on it for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And if I can push that back to as far in the day as possible, then that's a good thing.
Definitely. I only really use it now for messaging people. I don't really scroll.
Yeah.
I don't really look at stories. If I find myself tapping on stories, I'll just like, what am I doing? And then swipe off.
Yeah.
No, it's
Sorry,
probably a
I'm
thing we
wasting
shouldn't. It's not a thing we should really touch, and it's not a thing to MindsetMETA Mayhem. But today, I was scrolling through Instagram thinking it's done well yesterday with the Blackout Tuesday, and someone put a story on, which was a good story to put on, and it was there's 22 million hashtag Blackout Tuesdays and 10 million signatures for this petition. And I thought, I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
I can't be asked for negativity anymore. It's just shocking.
Yeah. It's just
So
it's horrendous, man. Twitter is just the worst place to
I've
be.
not used Twitter for
Twitter is
months.
the worst.
Facebook's dead to me.
I have
Twitter is
only
awful.
downloaded Twitter for MindsetMETA, found myself logging into my account and kind of scrolling every now and then, and it is just horrendous.
It's so negative.
Yeah,
But people love it. People love talking about negative stuff opposed to positive stuff.
exactly. Anyway,
Like, people just
we're going on
subconsciously do it.
we're going on a tangent here. Has everyone explained all the deductions? Joe, have you done yours? I think you have.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
we're all done.
So, second question from the public. Hang on, my connection's gone a bit dodgy. I'm back, I think. Second question. It's quite a deep one, this, and we'll sum it up as briefly as we can. What is the meaning of life to each of you?
Oh my God.
Who asked this question?
Jesus.
I can't tell you. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
Angus Cole, the prophet, the Messiah.
Meaning
The
of
man.
life.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
For me at the minute.
Just in general, mate. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how to answer that question. It'd probably be. I could be
Well,
left wing or I
there's your
could be
answer.
right wing about it.
There's your answer. If you don't know how to answer it, the meaning of life to you is.
God knows. God knows, mate. God knows. That's it. That's my answer.
I've got one. The meaning of life.
I can't wait.
In my head, to be as positive as possible, as frequently as possible, and make the most out of every single moment. And then whatever happens as a result of that just happens, and then just have no resistance towards it, because it'll all work itself out anyway.
That was beautiful. And I mean that.
Final answer. It starts off with. No, I'm joking. It's respect its ups and downs, and that's it.
I like that.
That's all I've got. That's all I've got.
So,
Ryan?
I think it's definitely it's what I've probably lived by for a few years. Just whatever, it's just like, I don't know, it's like, it's deep, like when it's a bit like what Joe and Angus have said, just taking life as it comes, and it's not, it's like staying on a medium. You travel your life on a medium, and you're given these negatives and positives to a point where you've got a choice to react. And it's just staying as close to that medium as possible and just being happy for what happens and not taking stuff too negatively.
Love that.
It's a great question,
Nice.
by the way.
It is a great question. We could do a whole podcast about this, sorry.
Maybe
Could be number 2. We'll see. For me, the meaning of life, I could go into it very deep as well, but the lads, you've covered quite a lot there. And I think, for me, something that I've realised and that I'm living by, and something I've definitely has been reiterated by us doing this, is that everything in life is better shared. So So yeah,
Wow.
that's the meaning of life. For me.
Very good.
That's nice.
Another question. What's the next stage for Mindset Meta?
Ooh. Which one do you want first?
Ooh, I mean, what is the next stage? I think, without giving too much away, is takeovers
From you.
and from the people watching. Get in touch. And anyone else want to add anything there?
Keep giving back in lots of different ways.
You won't want to miss out. That's the main thing.
Takeovers, giving back, and something involving a silver Citroen Picasso.
Oh.
Yeah.
When are you doing it?
Wait. Let me just say something. Speaking of silver, when's this guy getting his silver head on?
I'm doing it this weekend, bro. This Saturday, I think.
You better be. You best get that on live.
Watch him shave his hair before he does it.
Right, I'm getting a trim. No,
Yeah, you have to leave it in for like an hour, I think.
Terrible.
You have to leave it in until July. You can't do all your hair.
Yeah, Saturday.
Good.
Another question from one of the public
Anonymous.
is, how did your workout routines differ to a normal workout? Or did they?
I think it's another similar grey area, but apart from a 5K, that's a different thing. But sometimes on my rest days, I'd want to do it as long as possible to get as many points. Similar to cycling, wouldn't go as particularly fast or hard. I'd go as long, which isn't obviously as beneficial sometimes. So for me, not a lot different. I didn't do a lot of different workouts because I'm not very good at. I haven't got many weights at home. I'm not particularly, strong. I'm not going to try and do workouts like that. Oh, I can barely now. So just same as normal for me. Really didn't change that much. Just I was conscious to try and get as many points as possible. So length.
Quality.
Nice.
For me, I can only really say like my workouts were probably shorter, probably more intense in a shorter period, especially doing stuff at home with weights. And obviously, like I spent quite a lot of time towards the end of the challenge going out and playing football, which is different to a normal workout. Like I wouldn't normally go out and play football, which obviously benefits of the weather, but that's a good thing in itself.
Yeah, definitely. I'm similar to you, so mine were shorter but more intense, and definitely more cardio concentrate. I still did my weights because I do have quite a bit of equipment which I bought like 4 or 5 years ago now, but luckily I had it there. So I used what I had, kept it quite short and easy, and then and do like sprints, quite a few runs. Saying that, I've done nothing for like 3 days in terms of cardio.
Right?
Yeah, I think opening your eyes to what you can do body weight wise and minimalistic, and maybe realizing that if you're not going to be a bodybuilder or bloody powerlifter, then you probably don't need that 35 quid sapping out your bank account every month and putting it elsewhere. But yeah, definitely, I think it's reignited my fire for working out and just showing that it's possible. There's no excuse. Even if you are at home, you can still get a great workout in.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's true.
2 more questions. So first one, how many of you squeezed in or squeezed on a point or 2? Were we a bit generous here and there? I kind of said earlier, like, wherever I was generous, I was also like equally and oppositely harsh. So I'd like to say that I was pretty honest.
Yeah, I'd say I was probably maybe generous when I was doing my uni work, but then when I was doing like odd research here and there, I'd be rounding it more so down, so it probably balanced out. But I'd like to say I was logging it like every kind of half an hour, so I was pretty accurate with mine. But yeah, lads, you've gone quiet.
I would say at least 20 of my points were fake. I had at the start, first 2 weeks, I was rounding down my work time because I felt, I don't know, it's probably a different topic to talk about, but I think sometimes I'd have, over the course of the day at work, I'd have about an hour where I'd be picking up my phone, looking at it, or go and make a cup of tea or something. So I'd be looking to round down that, because I didn't think that was particularly fair on you three if I was to say I did exactly 8 hours work. And really I didn't. And then towards the end of the challenge, I would probably then say I did 8 hours work when I was still probably rounding down at the start of the month, if you know what I mean? Because I was competitive and I wanted to win, and I was still at work. So I was probably more lenient towards the end of the month. Still doing the work, obviously, just not actively rounding down.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think ironically, what I learned was in that Thinking Fast and Slow, he talks about the illusion of the mean, meaning a lot of things are based off luck, meaning things will even themselves out eventually. So it's stuff like being considerate of what you're actually doing, because end of the day, we're all mates, so it's not like anybody who wants it that bad to cheat and stuff like that. And you'll know deep down, which means it's obviously a lot more impactful internally to people anyway. And I know that'd eat away at me, and I definitely would not want to be doing that.
This is another question which I'm going to pretend I put to the MindsetMETA team. If you weren't doing, I'm basically saying, did you all cheat it? But if we weren't doing a challenge for MindsetMETA, cheers, Ryan. If you weren't doing a challenge for MindsetMETA, would the points be lower, do you think? As in, we're still doing a challenge, so we want to do as much work as we can, but we know that our points aren't going to be shared amongst our followers. So, do you kind of get my question? In that sense, would the
I know
points
what
be
you're
lower?
saying. I get what you're saying. Probably.
Because we don't want to look like Dossers, do we?
But yeah.
What is what I'm basically saying. So.
Lower than Tom?
Well, instead of getting 65, you get 61.
Oh, yeah, I think...
Oh, Tom's gone. That's convenient.
Oh, God.
Shock.
Right, thanks for watching.
I'm back.
It was just very still. I thought it was frozen.
No, I was sat still like this anyway, but I'm back. Go on.
Yeah, I think...
What did everyone say?
Yeah.
Right, what's the last question then, Tom?
So the last question to round off this podcast that has gone on for quite some time, but I hope it's all meaty content. It's good. I can't wait to watch it back. Last question: what was your highlight of the whole challenge?
Sunrise.
Nice. Good
Easily.
highlight.
But then I went back to bed. But still,
that's up there for me as well. But sunrise and when is it Devontae Wilson? Is that his name?
Oh,
Brian?
I knew best mate.
Yeah,
when he shared that on our story. Like, I mean, I know to some people that might not mean a lot. The guy's relatively compared to us got unbelievable amounts of subs, followers. So that for me was quite a big highlight. It was just like making waves.
Nice.
Anyone else, Angus?
I think mine were mainly talking to people, seeing that people genuinely are interested, and they want to better themselves, and it's nice to see that people want better for themselves, and maybe we are making a difference to some people's lives just by being there and being like, look what I'm doing.
Yeah, man.
Do you think we are in the minority in a sense of like people who actually want to get the shit together and sort their life out and actually be accountable for being a gossip?
I feel like we're in the majority in terms of the mindset, but the minority in terms of the actually doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, do you reckon everyone just thinks they will actually want to get the shit together, but the majority we're in the minority in the sense that we actually do it?
I bet you ask any one of your followers and they're like, yeah, I can't wait to own my own business. Yeah, I can't wait to read a book. I wish I could meditate and stuff, but it's like we've just done it. We've got 30 plus hours, hopefully, meditating between us all. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Angus, highlight?
I've got two. I've got one in terms of mindset, one in terms of myself. First one was when someone went out of their way to message me saying, I've done a 5K because you inspired me.
Oh, that's nice.
Second one was I finished a day because I don't know, I have these days of massive motivation and go to work early, come back late, continue my work, go to bed because I love it. I did a 13.5-hour day. I thought that's quite a big day for me.
That's big.
And it just kind of, I don't know, reassured myself that when I'm actually working hard, I am actually working hard, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So just because that's why I think the point system is quite a good thing, because you can see exactly how hard you've worked in that. So that was a pretty crap highlight, but I highlight otherwise.
Not a crap highlight at all, mate. It's good. I missed a question out. Shock. This one can be answered very quickly. When can we buy merchandise?
Wow.
Next week.
Soon.
Depends what how much you chat. If you're wanting to buy a £200 t-shirt right now, then we can organise that for you.
Right, so who wants to do the outro to this one? Let's round it up.
Tom, you've got the biggest mouth. I think it's only fair.
Charming.
You've got everyone needs t-shirts, so go on.
I have. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed watching us ramble on. We'll be doing another one soon. Don't know when exactly. Depends how long this one takes to put together, depending what happens with COVID. Hopefully everyone can take a lot away from all the points that we've made. I'm going to go and have my tea now. These lads are probably going to go to bed, I imagine.
Definitely.
But yeah, we've been Mindset Meta. This has been the MindsetMETA Mayhem podcast. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Nice.
Sick. Alright, lovely stuff. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
On
behalf of myself, Joe, Ryan, Tom, and Simba, thank you for watching. All the best.
I enjoyed that.
I really enjoyed that.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I think we could even just go the rogue route and I think we'll get to a point where we do that anyway, won't we? Where we just start.
Sit down and talk.
We have a topic and then we just spin off.
Lads, I really enjoyed doing that.
It's good, man. It's good.
And
have fun. Have fun editing.
What's the quickest way to do this? Because we might as well fucking start doing it now if it takes ages. Oh shit, I better stop recording this.